After a pretty rough crossing from Mallorca, we were really glad to reach our little anchorage just in time to see the sunset with a couple of drinks. But what was a quiet little anchorage in the morning turned into a bustling car park full of day boats, but that did not stop us from going for a swim, a snorkel, and a stand-up paddleboard. But before too long, we were off sailing again, taking advantage of the wonderful wind all the way to Pollenca. Pollenca is a charming and fun little town, and our stay there happened to coincide with the Euro Cup final between England and Spain. Of course, on this occasion, Spain won, which meant the locals went crazy. It also coincided with the Virgen de Carmen festival, which saw hundreds of fire-breathing ghouls making their way down the streets of Pollenca towards the harbour. The next day, we rounded the Cap de Formentor, which was really spectacular with its dramatic cliffs, but soon ran out of wind, so we sadly motored the rest of the way to our next stop, which was Puerto de Pollenca, and anchored just in time to see this beautiful ketch sail its way into the harbour. The next morning we were visited by some friends who were holidaying in Mallorca, and so we had a brunch in the cockpit of Argo. And after several drinks we decided to ride on the vintage tram that runs between Puerto de Pollenca to Sóller up in the hills. It's a really cute 15-minute ride that passes through the orchards and farmhouses in between the two towns. And of course, as we were passing out of the harbour, I was keeping an eye on Argo in the distance. Up in Sóller, the village is really pretty and has a really nice cathedral that overlooks a plaza surrounded by bars, cafes and restaurants. We just walked around the streets, stopping off for coffees and drinks wherever we felt like it, and it was a really nice afternoon. Before too long, however, we had to make it back to Puerto de Pollenca because we still had a 3 to 4 hour passage to get down to our next stop. Here we are trying to lily pad our way to our dinghy after a few too many mimosas at brunch. It was absolutely hilarious, but none of us ended up in the water, and we went on to get loaded up on diesel before getting into Argo and heading down the west coast of Mallorca to our next stop, which was St. Elm, which would be our last stop in Mallorca before making the crossing to Ibiza.